today, as long as the alternatives are affordable, right? From a production standpoint and also from an availing standpoint to the consumers. At the moment, Indonesia, like many other developing economies, they could only afford about 3 to 5 cents per kilowatt hour. However, the alternative technologies, they could only be available at a cost of 15 cents. So I'm not questioning the viability of the technological alternatives, but I think the economic viability for developing economies like Indonesia is still not there. So I think the million-dollar question is, how do we get it to a point where we can actually source it differently in a much more economically viable manner, right? So the UK has tremendous technological capability, also economic capital capability.
Sure.
So I think there needs to be some thinking about how do you make sure that that technology is going to come down from 15 cents to 14, 13, 12 onward, while the purchasing power may not be moving as fast, as the technology is coming down. Because this thing is going to have to move up from 5 cents to 6 cents to 7 cents. And that intersection will take a while. Until then, I think we're all exposed. This is the baseline. You have to rebase that. If you're thinking about countries like Indonesia and others in the context of AIing themselves, AI has been known as a tremendous consumer of energy. And when you listen to the NVIDIAs of the world, they're talking about the latest GPU being able to 10x or 30x vis-a-vis the previous capability. That's a 30x energy requirement. And that, I think, is the reality that needs to be projected onto conversation so that we can collectively try to find solutions, both technologically, but I think more importantly, economically. So we don't have an answer, but I'm just saying that I think it needs to surface in conversations because the realism of the sustainability narrative needs to be there.
I think so. I agree with you that economic, that technological, but also I think that political angle to it as well is pretty critical. And it's really interesting you frame it around the needs of AI in the future, which AI is that classic double-edged sword that could be a great a leveler. It could be a great way to unlock enormous kind of value and ingenuity for the future. But also we see some of the harms that AI can cause, particularly in the media and information space, swinging elections as an example in a way that doesn't reflect the whole spirit of democracy, which is one of the reasons why we're very mindful of of needing to get a balance right on the collective regulation of AI, which no individual state can do. And it can't be, I think, led by individual developers, NVIDIA or anybody else. But it needs to be a conversation amongst us all about what kind of world we want to have here and how do we want this to be governed, because this is a whole new force.
There are some countries who are just opening the whole kimono with respect to AI. There are some countries that are, I think, a lot more measured about pushing the narrative forward. I tend to